Hi, YouTube, it's Rose, and I'm so grateful to be here with Sean. We're going to continue with our most candid, honest interview. And Sean, I just want to say thank you so much for your courage that you are blessing each and every one of us immensely. So thank you, sir.
Sure. Yeah, if I could add to that right quick, what I wanted to say is that I have read some of the comments from these interviews, and I think what's touching to me is that, and I thank you for reposting the testimony from. I think some people are confused that it was back in 2012, but when I was, telling everybody what really happened, the story back then, and I was very emotional, and I think what's touching about this that I don't even realize is that this is like a like abusive relationship in a big large scale scenario of things, and so I think it's touching that people are able to see this to remind them of even past relationships. And so it's a warning not just of bad false teachers and stuff, but also relationships in general, whoever you would, just to be very careful and just don't get fooled into bad situations. Look out for the warnings, and that's what I think is good, that what you're doing with me and with your videos and also with Jim's videos is to shine the light on where you need to walk in your life and not to and to look for the signs of bad things out there of people that control or cause issues. So thank you.
Thank you. And it's definitely healthy for us to be able to from our own testimonies and personal experiences to be able to recognize red flags, and maybe those that are still involved in a bad relationship, those will bless them the most. So yeah, thank you, Jesus, on that. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, so I think we left off. We were in Philadelphia and the rapture did not happen. Ouch. And you guys were still in Philadelphia. What happened after that briefly? Like, where did you guys go and stuff like that? And how did it go
Well,
from there?
I was trying to recollect everything of how it happened. I know she was saying that she felt, I was going back and reading some stuff and saw where Laura said that she felt called to go to Philadelphia in that time period. And then at the same time, I was trying to do the journey of wanting to go up and pray over different places in Washington, D.C. So I can't remember. I don't remember if we did Philadelphia. I know we stayed in Philadelphia, I think, for the 1st to the 4th of July. And then we quickly drove to, yeah, it was Washington, D.C., because I just watched a recent video, which of the fireworks that were in D.C., and we filmed starting at 9/11 that night, and then we were reading a scripture or something, and I know that someone came up to us to tell us about the separation of church and state, and we had talked about that. But yeah, it was. That was the biggest sign for me when things didn't happen. Um, and yeah, I was bummed out because I was still, at this time we were having a pretty decent time. We just had one little disagreement that was in Philadelphia, and that was because she was trying to tell me that I couldn't be friends with someone that I was best friends since 1990, that was like a little sister to me, and told me that if I was going to be around her, that either she was going to get on the bus and leave, or if I didn't get rid of that relationship, and said that I had to tell them that it was off, which I did do that. And I actually hurt my best friend's feelings and had her sister contact me. And then I was able to, explain 2 or 3 months later. I went behind Laura's back and actually went to my friend and called her and apologized and told her I'm sorry and that I didn't mean to do that, and that I would, work on trying to repair our relationship that we had. But sorry, I digress, but that was the main thing there. But we stayed in Philadelphia with the homeless at that night and protesting, and we were able to give food and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, when it happened on July the 4th and it didn't happen, I was bummed, because I was really, I didn't know where to go from there.
And so when you guys left Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., what happened after that? And let me ask really quick, Sean. I'm sorry. Uh, what type of behavior in Laura did you witness while you were with her, as pertaining to what she did with her time?
Sure.
And yeah, we'll start there.
I didn't really recognize a lot of the, well, I did start seeing some weirdness, like in Philadelphia, where she said that she kept arguing with God about where the relationship between her and I,
How would she
about,
argue with God? Did you witness her arguing with God?
yeah, yeah, she was talking out loud. She would go out to the balcony and she was saying it was what how to be around me. We can go to a later video later if you want to talk about the other stuff on that. Um, but she just had some weird, her conversation and stuff. And everybody talks with God, so I don't think that's so much weird. It was just
You used the word
maybe.
argue.
Yeah, well, yeah, arguing, meaning like she's having a conversation with him, like she's hearing him, and then she's saying, "I don't agree with this" or whichever, and laughing and whichever. Which to me, honestly, I think she was just having a conversation with herself. But
Yeah.
she told me she was art, having a conversation with God and all of this. She was saying she was trying to define what my role was because being that she was married and that she had to remain pure and everything until the fourth and everything like this, and how she was supposed to be or something. So it was like I said, I a lot of times I just already knew that there's things I didn't agree with her, but I just kind of just rolled my eyes and expected that was just the weirdness of her, because at this time I didn't know that she was like screaming and hollering at other people. I heard about it, but I thought that these were other people that just were, I don't know, had problems with her. And I said it didn't have anything to do with me. Now, when we got back later, I didn't see her start doing things with her own time until we actually got back to the cabins and after the fourth. And when we got back down to Georgia, that's where I saw her. I didn't see her read the Bible so much. What I did see was always watching videos of herself and laughing at herself. Like when she would say something funny on her videos and cackle, then she would sit there and laugh and cackle with herself of her own videos, which I thought was really strange. And she would just watch them over and over again, back to back for hours. And then she never really did most videos until after midnight for her own self, which I started thinking was strange. That she do some during the day, but really she didn't start coming alive until after the midnight hour when it came to either real. It was weird. She'd be in a dark. The lights would be off and dark. She'd watch these videos and meditate of herself at night, and then just and then like I said, most of the videos she uploaded went until after midnight. Not
We've
trying to say.
we've noticed that same thing, Sean. I don't know if you've seen our comments or any of our videos. I don't think so, huh? Have you? That we make mention about that.
No, I did see y'all's comments on that concern, and that's one reason why I wanted to bring that up, because I wanted
Good.
to confirm that that's true, that that's where most of it, and she does it in dark. The lights are usually not on or it's very dim and stuff like that, which, I can't say much here because my light's not very good either, but, uh, you know,
Yeah, we kind of get the it's an actual mood that's going on. It's not just like we're in the dark because we don't have sufficient light.
yeah. I know the thing I started wondering when I was starting to wonder about her medical situation back then and started seeing problems. I was noticing it was maybe it could have been with her diets and her sleep. She didn't sleep much. Her diet was weird. Like I would go to the grocery store and she would rather stay inside when it came to a grocery store, or when she went in, it was almost like she was completely confused and was bored to death to go into a grocery store when it came to food to cook or anything at home. So I'm serious when I talk about eating nothing but junk food of stuff. I'm not trying to come against it, but I know that that has stuff to do with affects people's mentally condition, mind or what they eat and stuff. And she didn't like to eat healthy stuff whatsoever. I don't think she ever strayed away from a burger or pizza most of the time, and otherwise it would be just potato chips and man, she drinks so much soft drinks. It like she would get 2 liters or 3 liters of thing, and those things would be gone faster than anything. So she definitely, I just thought about all that sugar because she get really hyper and stuff like that.
Did you see her drink water?
No, I don't remember drinking water. She might have, but I don't really. It was
Remember
mainly
seeing that?
soft. Yeah, it was always about soft drinks that she'd drink.
And
And
there
pretty
wasn't
much
there
all about
wasn't really much of a concept of homemaking there. No real sense of, yeah.
no, I was laughing about last night that I watch a lot of TV shows and stuff, and I thought it'd be great. You could actually hire her for the worst cook in America. I'm serious. I'll never forget seeing that chicken and stuff she tried to cook. That was the worst thing that I ever saw in my life. Oh my. I felt bad, but I didn't want to eat it. I was trying to be nice as possible as I could around her, but it was scary. But I like cooking myself, so.
Well, it's not too funny, but we can laugh at it now, huh? But it wasn't too funny at the time.
I can
Um,
laugh.
so now I hate to go off a completely different section, but I want to bring this up. Did you mention that she said she was going to birth the two witnesses? She is going to birth Jesus?
Wow, you know what? Definitely the two witnesses, but I remember her talk about her saying how she when she's marrying stuff, just remembering things of the past and um yeah, her
Nothing really
subject.
strong there.
Yeah, it's just remembering her talk about, but yeah, she definitely felt about birthing this movement, always putting herself like that. Yeah, and the thing is I just everything was about her. It was always like I wanted to. I'm serious. When I stayed with her, there was times when I was finally just getting tired of it. I just wanted to hit my head against the wall constantly because she was always talking about how she was going to birth this movement, birth this, birth that, and that she was in pregnancy of this turmoil that she was feeling. She was feeling the birth pangs and constantly, and she was always talking about that. And then she would find comments that people left on her channels, and she was like, "Oh, look what so and so said about me," and stuff like that. It was always anything to brag about herself. And I would have conversations with her. I'm like, doesn't the Bible say about boasting that we're not supposed to boast? I said, you are gifted, Laura, in a lot of things, but why do you have to go around and tell? I said, no one wants to listen to you if all you're going to do is just sit around boasting about yourself all the time. It doesn't look good. And she just constantly say, well, I'm new at this. She says, because I was taken to hell and been here, I just don't really know how to, I'm just not really good with people. I don't really know. I just have that flesh part. And Sean, you just got to bear with me while I'm trying to work on that because
Always an excuse, huh?
well, she just says, I'm constantly in a spirit. She says, I'm just in the spirit and I'm trying to focus on birthing things here. So I'm not very good with relations to other people and stuff. And that's just not for me.
Okay, so now that's excellent stuff. So now let's move on a little bit to her emails and what you witnessed in her emails or emailing other people, uh, i.e., attacks, or what
Yeah.
people said about her as well.
Right. Well, I started, you know, before there was comments or people, I would have warnings constantly where people would tell me, you need to get away from Laura and all of this. Before I met her, I'd ignored them. But after I was with her, I just didn't respond because I agreed with them about the type of person she was and stuff. But I had to be silenced at that time because I knew that if I said anything at that time, that something would happen. So I had to be very careful in every step. Plus, at the same time, we had that roommate that was there. that came in, and I had to be careful with every detail and find a way to get out and what to do. I was trying to figure out. I'm open for a plan to do, but yeah, then people started sending me letters, and they would send me their responses of what they wrote to Laura and how Laura, like, they were feeling like they were being attacked left and right. And one of them actually said, this is not edifying for me, Laura. Please stop. This is not edifying. And all it was for them because they disagreed with her. One of the most was a friend that was very close to her, and I actually met on my journey, besides meeting Mama Cass and Michael, was one, she went by not over 2012. They were very close, but because there is a problem and a belief, she sent an email to her and called her and says, you're an antichrist. And she wrote to me and says, Sean, you shouldn't have anything to do with so and so anymore because I have wrote her off as an antichrist. And her name was Cindy, and said that Cindy is an antichrist and she's of the devil and she's just not right. And it was all because of a separate opinion that they had on something.
Well, we know Cindy on our channel, and hi, Cindy. So now you have testimony of the other side of the story and what was really going on when you were on your side being attacked. So praise God for that. Thank you, Sean.
Oh, there's
Now,
many of them. Daughters of Jerusalem, tons of them out there. And they warned me. They said that they subscribed for me because they could see that they felt that I was either sincere or something, and that was why some of them went with, Laura and stuff like that. Not saying anything about me.
yes.
I'm nothing, but I'm not trying to boast of anything on there. I'm just trying to say what happened in some of the emails that I got back then.
Well, that does happen when somebody joins up to another channel. When I started listening to Laura, some of my friends on YouTube as well started, checking her out. It's a natural reaction. So that's why
Right.
it's really important for us to do what we're doing, because we did at one time promote her, and it's important for us to repent publicly and do that service to others so that they could be warned, and God willing, they will not suffer the same fate.
What's really embarrassing was when she was in the mental institution, and the story, because we leaked out and other people they were putting in their comments, free Laura Lee, and they were putting different videos that we were subscribers to, that it got popular enough that some lady, I had to look at it. I still have the emails, but it was someone that was on blog radio that that didn't even know anything really much about Laura, but knew the story because they all heard the story about that she was locked into this mental hospital, and they were trying to make her deny her. So we actually did this interview and we were at Lookout Mountain over the radio, for the blog radio, to do that, for her to tell her story for other people to hear. And all of a sudden, there's more subscribers that were coming to hear the story, that they believed her. And then it didn't take within a week, she started attacking people and stuff, and people just saw that it was false. And it was just embarrassing because, wow, you go through that, and she lies through that whole story, and it's not even true. Of course, I didn't find out about that until I actually talked to her family, like in November.
Did any of these supporters give money, Sean?
Yes, yes.
And what did they give money towards?
Some would send to for the ministry. Really, the first time we actually had money that came in was, I'm not sure if it was because I requested for donation, but it was when she got arrested, the time for not, at a checkpoint area. And so I think I requested it. And I do know that Mama Cass sent $500. I emailed that showed where she sent $500 for donation for that. Others didn't agree because at that time we didn't have tags to believe. And I will say for myself, didn't believe, because I was anti-government at the time too. So I didn't believe that I needed to get to pay the taxes or pay for the tags for the cars and stuff like that after they were suspended. So some people did not want to support us because, we were saying that we were not going, that the government should owe us in life and stuff like that, not the other way around.
Yeah, they should have freed her if the government owes her, right? With a check.
She knew
Um,
who she was, right?
so now this one particular lady that gave Laura 500, how did that relationship end? And did you see any nasty emails going to her from that
I
relationship?
don't I don't know with that one. That one's always was the rocky one because that was although the whole two witnesses scenario with Laura and Catherine, Mama Cass, and Michael, there always seems to come back. She was always praying for us, and maybe it was just supportive of seeing through. She and even after I left and stuff, and she even made a comment after 2013, after my surgeries and stuff, that she still followed me and cared for me and stuff like that. So I don't know what I would have to ask her, what if the relationship between her and Laura actually deteriorated. I know at the time back in June or whatever beforehand it deteriorated, but I don't know if they got back on better terms. I mean, she donated 500. That would be something Laura could ask, or if Mama Cass is hearing or something and is listening to this, then maybe she will be able to give her story on that too. So without the facts, I don't know.
Now, to your uh, best recollection, have you known Laura to threaten anybody's life or threaten anybody in an email?
Yes, I got an email, which I can gladly read sometimes, or I can give it to you or upload it. But someone that warned that she was threatening not only her life and threatened death of others, but also that she was threatening President Obama, that she wanted that she would kill President Obama and kill the others out there. So now I don't have the direct email where Laura's saying that. I just have the testimony of the person saying that they have her saying that. So it'd be great to find out if there is a video or email where she is actually threatened the life of President Obama at that time or anybody else.
Well, God willing, that information will come forward, and the Lord has been working in such a mighty way. I would not be surprised, but I gotta say, the Lord never ceases to amaze me.
Right, right.
Now, so that's a pretty strong statement there, Sean. You know, that's quite a defective character to have. In your witness um, of experience, go right
Sorry.
ahead. No, go right ahead.
Um, there is a story. I don't have to find it. I know I still have it, but she does tell the story of how she met in 2010. I think it was President Obama visited her town or city and where she was at, and that when he walked by or something, that she yelled at him and said that you're the beast, or you're the antichrist and you will not rule, or something. I'd have to read what she had, but she did have a testimony. She would always talk about the story of how she faced him face to face, and so she definitely had it for President Obama. Yeah.
Talking to the beast, was she?
Yeah, she was talking to the beast.
now, now from she talks all kinds of things, doesn't she? Let's see. We've
Lately, she's talking about
got.
transgender
Oh
stuff.
yes. Now, from your witness and experience with being around her, have you known her to or heard of her having any characteristics of a stalker or
Yes.
or spying on people?
Well, she always taught. I heard now later the story when I talked with her family. I got more story about Ken. She keeps, but when I was with her, she kept up bringing about this guy named Ken, and I had no idea who this Ken character was. But she said that she felt a long time ago that she walked into this church and there was Ken, and at that moment, while she was in that church, she knew that he was the one that she was supposed to be with, or that was supposed to I don't whatever her relationships stat is, because maybe she thought that that was her John the Beloved. I did read an email, by the way, where she said that Mama Cass told her that I was John the Beloved, and that's why she believed it, which I don't believe that story. But anyway, back to Ken. So she would talk to me about this Ken thing, and then in the emails when I left in November, when I've had enough of it, she kept saying, well, I guess it wasn't you. I guess it was Ken. I'll just go back to Ken. And then she said, maybe her family can get her to take, or either I would take her to Michigan to get back. She says, well, she was puzzled. She wasn't sure because she thought it was me that she was supposed to be with. And then it wasn't Ken. Now, I want to state, I ended my relationship with Laura at the latest. I mean, I don't remember the date, if it was the end of July or beginning of August, but I was already seeing, I was told her that we're just going to be roommates. So she's still puzzling this thing and then still wondering if we're married, which I'm like, what do you mean married? But married all through this thing. And I just let her ramble on, but until I could find a way to leave. So I looked at it as roommate and kept telling her that, but she would not back down to think that there's a relationship going and for me to come back or whichever. So it was always between me and this guy she was talking about, which was Ken. Now her family said later that, Ken, she stalked for years of this Ken character. And, I don't know. I think I've heard that he was married too, and had another wife or something like that. So.
Well, it would be a blessing if we could get a witness to that too as well, because basically what we're doing, all of us here, is putting together evidence and witness and testimony, because that's how we can come to a better conclusion as to whether someone can choose to follow her or not, and that God's will be done, because there's a fire in me when somebody is doing what she is doing and has refused to stop, refused to take accountability, and there is no change. I can't say that enough. And by her videos that she's putting out that I've been witnessing, that they just continue to roll. But the great news is it only makes her look worse, and we're starting to get more and more information on exactly the character of who she really is. So thank you so
I don't think
much.
she even knows who she really is. I think she thinks she knows who she is, but I don't. After remembering everything and being with her, she's always so puzzled about things and can't figure things out. And then the constant arguing, not arguing, but her conversations with God that she has, I just think she doesn't really know who she is. I think she has believed these things so much for her majority of her life that she is just in a constant mind of confusion. She has no idea who she is, and you know.
It definitely seems that she's gotten to a point where, and it has been for many years, where she's completely lost touch of reality.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Some
right.
people lose touch of reality partially, and some, more severe cases. And I definitely feel that we're looking at a case that is extremely severe, and because of that, dangerous, because she's extorting money from people, and she's putting out publications and making claims and leading people in the direction she is going, which, from what evidence we have seen so far and found, and that has come to light, that's not the case. The case is that she is no one to really deal with whatsoever, because we're talking about somebody that prays in the dark, threatens or prays death over people. I mean, the list is amazing. The list is just mind-boggling. So let's go to you guys were living together as roommates. How did Laura get arrested after she left the mental institution? We know she left that institution without probably being released somehow, and then you helped her with that once she was out. Then she got arrested. Why did she get arrested, and what
Okay,
happened?
right. So when we were back in the cabins, and then starting with August, I mean, we had to have a new plan. So it was to rent a place. We were running out of money because it was all being spent on the hotels and the food and all of that stuff.
Wow.
I was trying to find out how to get money from, I don't know if that time, if I already took out all my savings or if I had that, or from Social Security that I was getting. Uh,
Wait, Sean, let me ask you, you ran out of money already like in August?
no, I'm not, I would have to remember back. I know it was running low. No, we had
Okay.
enough, but we had to pay ahead of time, I think, per month for these places that we're staying at.
So
Um,
you were starting to go from thousands into hundreds, probably something like that.
Yeah, and then she wanted to get I couldn't work at that, but I was really way too sick and I couldn't just drive out and go anywhere because see the stress was already kicking in at that time and me being around her that I was starting to get really sick a lot. And so it so both freaking out with money situation. So she found this job at this log cabin rental place where she was doing something to get a side of something. So the good days I would be able to take her and drop her off and then come back. But then later I lended her my car, and so she was driving my car, and I don't know if it had I I can't remember if I had insurance or not. No, my insurance expired at that time, but she was driving my car back and forth to work. So I was asleep that morning and she got up and needed to get something at the local Dollar General that was about 3 miles down from where we were staying because we stayed out in the boondocks area. And either on the way there or on the way back, there was a checkpoint and she got pulled over, and she, far as I know, she yelled off. She didn't have a drive. She left her driver's license on the table at the cabin. So I think she mouthed off to the, who knows what she actually said, but far as I know, she probably mouthed out to him that who she is and you don't do this to me and this is illegal because she was against checkpoints and all of that and said that that was unconstitutional and everything. So I'm sure she mouthed off about it, probably enough that finally the cops got irritated and so they wrote obstruction to a police officer, and then that's how she got put in jail, and they had a jail's bond for while she was in there.
And at that point, you still had compassion and felt a responsibility to bail her out.
I first, when I heard about it, well, first I didn't know anything where she was until she called me, and then that's when she told me. And they took my car, so I had to find a way to get my car out. So I was angry that I had to get money about my car and figure out what to do. But at the same time, at the first, when I heard that when she was in, well, first I was kind of concerned, where did she go? Where's my car at? It was like, I think over a day passed. I had no idea what happened. So I was kind of freaking out. And then she called and let me know, and then to get the money out to get her and all of this stuff. And in my head, I went, you know what? I wonder if I really should do that. Maybe this is a chance to just leave her there and get out. But see, the thing is that even with that, I just I felt like I just couldn't do it, that it wouldn't be right for me to leave her there, that I have to leave her out because I'm still struggling about the system and everything like that, with my beliefs back then too.
You just
So
didn't have it in you to do that at that time.
yeah, because I just because I felt like if I was against the system or something like that, then how could I allow that to happen to someone else?
Yeah.
That started changing when I had no choice, the month later and finally said, I've got to get rid of her. There's nothing, screw that, Now, I know that the system is bad and good, it works, there's things that always can be worked on, but I don't believe stuff like I did then. I had a lot of problems back then. So, but then that was my mentality that, the government's bad and evil, just the beast system and whatever.
So how much was it to bail her out? Do you remember?
I think it had to be over 1,000. I'm thinking, I don't know. I just know that I do remember the donation of $500 from Mama Cass. I don't know if anymore. And I knew some of my money went in there too. To bail her out. I want to say it was 1,500 or 2,500 between those two, but
Wow.
unless I had,
Plus
you know,
getting your car out.
right. I could always call LJ up there and actually get the records and ask. Maybe they'll still remember. I don't know.
That'd be awesome. So now that you, how long did she stay incarcerated, and then what happened after you bailed her out?
Okay. I don't think she was in there that long. I think it was only a matter of I don't even think it was a week. I think it was probably like 3 days or something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
takes 3 days to go to court.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was very short that first time. Our relationship was on the rocks right then and there, even getting along as roommates. Because that was in October. I couldn't stand being around her, because we moved to a different location at one place where we're staying. We had a big blow up, and that it was a place we rented out, and it was like 3 stories. She stayed at the very top, and I was at the very bottom in the basement area, and I was doing whatever I could just not to be around her at that time. And so when we got back to the other place we'd rented, and then also we moved into that rental place I was telling you about that's right across from the jail area. So that happened, I think, well, that happened at the beginning of either at the end of October or the beginning of November. But I was trying to do whatever I could just to avoid her at that time.
So when
And
she got out of the jail, you guys were once again together again physically. What
yeah.
happened?
Well, now I did notice in some of the emails people posted that because I wasn't putting any videos, so people were concerned about me because they weren't hearing from me for over a month because I wasn't posting anything on my YouTube channel. So people knew, and so people already commenting that the relationship's over with. What's going on? You're finally understanding the truth, and they were right. I just didn't respond to anybody. I didn't respond back to my comments because I knew I had to be very careful with everything because Laura was watching everything with a hawk. I mean, at one time she was able to get into my emails and she was, saying, signing my name with things that I didn't agree with.
That's there's a law against that. I don't think that's a legal thing to do. Okay, so then once you bailed her out, things were really really bad. How did you come to get away from her? And how did she
I
get end up back in jail again?
Yeah, I finally just said that I had to leave. I told her straight up I'm going to go for a while. I didn't tell her I was leaving. Well, I already left the relationship and said it was over with, but I just said I needed to go a break and go back to where one of my closest friends lived, and that I was leaving. And so I just got up and left. The only thing she had was a computer. I don't think she even had a phone, but I left money for her. I left her to have spending money where she could take a taxi to go to the store or go wash her clothes or whatever she needed to do. And but I just got up to left to find my time. In the meantime, the moment that I left, she within a course of 2 to 3 weeks, she wrote 110 emails to me
Wow.
questioning whether I was supposed to back. And finally, and I'll have to read the emails on some of them. It's funny to laugh at now, but where she told me to get back there, that she's the apostle. And what was interesting is she said, because I guess at the time I was really sick and I was reading the email, she said, she says, I am not to be your caretaker. Regardless if you're sick, that is a Python spirit you have. You're supposed to take care of me. You're the man. I'm not a caretaker. So you get back here and you take care of me. You repent for all of that, and then you will be well, and then you can take care of me.
Wow. She sure
Yeah,
loves them cursing, huh?
yeah, she loves that stuff. Yeah, she
Well,
is definitely something.
well, I think we got an excellent interview, Sean.
Awesome.
You're at you got in your car and decided to leave. Maybe we should go just a little bit further. You left. She sent you 100 and how
Yeah,
many?
well, these are actually funny. So she demanded money from her son, said her son owed her money. She was trying to debate whether she needed to go back to Michigan or not, or stay there to open her prayer center. And that meantime, while I was gone. And then she had this guy named Rob that she kept telling me about, that Rob agreed to give her money to live for that year. And she said when she calculated it, that it was going to be, I think, $14,000 for that year. Um, and then she was going to pay me what she thought that she owed me, even though she didn't agree with it. Which I think I was asking for 5,000. She said she'd agreed to like $200 out of all that,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
And she was going to go to this place that she felt called about. It's a $230,000 house, which I found a link. I sent that to you to show you that house. And where she said that she thinks she could talk them down to where she could have that for $1,000 a month for her to stay if she was to stay there. Otherwise, she'd get her son to get her car down there or send money to her. And then Rob winded up sending her. And what's interesting on the emails said Rob sent her $110 that she got so far, and she said that he was wavering and flip flopping and stuff, and she didn't know if she could take him seriously, but she says, now I can take him seriously because now that he sent $110, now I can take him seriously, that maybe he is a Christian. So he couldn't be a Christian until she received $110 from what I read,
Yeah.
which I thought was the craziest thing to read, you know. But so it's just about the money. And
Righteous by pay.
right, right. So in the meantime, I wasn't trying to respond to her too much until she was threatening to move my clothes, and then she was going to try to find a roommate to where we're staying. I'm like, wait a minute. I have the so I called up the owner of the place and made sure that I had only my name as the landlord, the lease of the place, and so that she could get kicked out. I tried to look into see if I could do a restraining order, but they told me it would take too long to do a restraining order, and the amount of time I was trying to do. Couldn't do eviction yet, so the only thing that I was left was to find out. Someone emailed me and said, well, maybe you can revoke that bail bond that you did. And so I wound up contacting the person that I did the bail bond with, and they say, oh yeah, you can revoke it. And I had to wait till it took time. I think it took like 2 weeks or so, and then they said that I needed to be there to have her escorted. When we did get there and get the cops there, she was escorted. And then funniest thing is she kept calling me a liar and a thief there, telling the cops, says, he's a thief, saying that I stole from her and everything. And I was like, wow. So she was trying to get me in trouble while she was being arrested and taken to the jail thing. And she stayed in because I stayed at the place until the end of January. Because I remember I had to go to the hospital. I got sick, and I was watching the national championship game of Alabama, and that was like January the 23rd. So she went to the jail in the end of November, and I don't think she got out till the end of January. I think is when she actually got out that second time of jail.
Well, one
She
thing
had
that
someone in the place that bailed her out. It was a someone she talked to that wound up bailing her out about her belief and stuff. So
I'm starting to see a pattern of is all those things that come out of her mouth that she accuses everybody seems to be exactly what's inside of her. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
you know, to those that are pure, all things are pure, and to those that are evil, all things are evil.
right, right.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I think we should stop there. We'll pick up
Hey,
where
if
we
I can
left
add
off.
one thing,
Yes,
I have
please
one
do.
thing left. If anybody, if you want to see the equivalent of someone like Laura, all you have to do is find wrestling on channels. You know, they do those villains and good guys and villains. And I think she watched too much wrestling in her life because she really tries to live up to those villains. I mean, with the ego and the pride and everything, she's definitely like, you know, because no, you think no one really acts like that in real life, you know. But then you watch wrestling and you see those villains where they say they're the greatest of all time or they're the greatest champions and all those sneak attacks. She's the living legend of that.
The only difference is they're getting paid to say it and they know it's a lie. And they go
Right,
home and go to their life and have reality and step back into
right,
reality. Unfortunately, she's not getting paid for it, but you know what? The Lord is coming with reward for each and every one of us, and we are going to get paid by our works, that's for sure.
right,
We're not saved by works, but we are rewarded by our works. And reward is not always a good reward, depending on what our works are, for sure, right?
right, right.
Well, that is excellent. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll pick up after the next one will be great. That's going to talk about you having to leave. We'll give you a chance to get through those emails and all that,
Sure,
and we'll
sure.
take it from there. So thank you, Sean. God bless you, and continue checking the comments. Everybody's loving your feedback, and everybody is really loving and appreciating what you're doing for each and every one of us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rose. God
You,
bless everyone. God bless you.
God
Bye
bless
bye.
you.